Hey guys, my name is Jeremy Bernstein. I'm the team lead and game director for a game called Social Clues. Unlike the other games you just saw, this game is actually for a very specific niche market, and mainly that's for children with autism. So this game is actually made sort of as a blend between therapy and gameplay, but ideally our players will never know that. So that's what this talks about right here. It's a point-and-click puzzle adventure. So imagine kind of like Monkey Island and Brain Age. I'll speak to that in a moment. Players with autism, children with autism are 1 in 88 now, and it's growing to 1 in 50. So we're really trying to meet that mutant population. They exhibit impaired social interaction, impaired communication, and restricted interests. So the gameplay is going to be built all around those things and getting them to expand those various behaviors. So it's a game that's kind of gaming equals learning. And the reason why I say that is because we only want to see this, right? We want our player only to see the game elements. But those of us and the therapists attached and the writers are making sure that everything that we put in the game has a learning rationale behind it. So when we think of just point and click as being part of the gameplay, it's actually about exploration. And dialogue trees that are in this game are actually all about learning how to converse. So going back to that Monkey Island and Brain Age conversation, how many of you guys are familiar with Monkey Island? Or maybe Choose Your Own Adventure? Yeah? So basically what it is it's a narrative-driven story, right? And in this case, an interactive narrative, where the only way to progress and move through that story is to talk to different people, engage in a dialogue, and then the choices you make actually affect and impact what happens later. So while that to us is just conversation, to our players, that's almost like a puzzle because they don't understand what it means to like initiate, then maintain, and then like figure out what's going on with that person, how are they feeling, etc. So every time they interact with a character, they're actually learning a certain skill set and they're better at it. So it's therapy and entertainment, but again, game first so that they never know. Really, really important about this game is that since it's a therapy tool, the players will get one set of information. So after they beat a level, they'll find out how they did with stars and maybe what they found, characters interacted with. But parents and therapists are going to get like a full grid, a spider chart that says, hey, here's how the player did. Right? They're getting better at certain key things like comprehension or initiating conversations, etc. So to speak to what the plot of the game is, this game is about the Mum family, and the Mum family, like many we know, they come home from work and they just sit there and watch TV, right, all day, or they're surfing the web. They don't talk to each other at all. They don't communicate. There's no conversation, right? And so what happens is one day the children of the family hear a loud noise upstairs. They go running up and find out that all of their toys have been stolen. And so now they've got to venture out into the world, to the community, talk with people, get clues, and sort of solve the mysteries to where those toys are. So those children are Pete and Kate, who find out that their full names are actually participate and communicate. Right? Those being, of course, the key behaviors that we want our player to focus on. And in that first level of the tutorial, they meet the family's parrot, whose name is Sherlock. And Sherlock's the only character in the Mum family who knows how to talk. So Sherlock's going to teach you what it means to converse and have an interaction with people. And then after you learn how to talk to your dad and he learns how to talk to you, you kind of follow those muddy footprints out the window and start this adventure. So that's when you end up in our beautiful world here, which is highly stylized, really angular, kind of wonky. And the reason for that is people with autism tell us that they see the world, they live in and see the same world we do, but they see it a little bit differently. And that's because they have certain heightened attention. So they might see certain colors are a little bit louder to them, certain textures stand out more. And so we're sort of playing off of that, making a world that's very much our own, but just a little more fun to live in. Then we're using bright colors because we want to make sure to always draw attention to where the player's eyes need to be. We need to give them a very focused, sort of linear story, even though we're going to give them what looks like choice. It's an illustrated 2.5D world. By that I mean, unlike Khaled's, which is a 3D but then 2D platforming, this is actually kind of like a 3D environment, but then there are 2D characters in that environment to walk around. And then really neat is we've got these great characters. So much about communication is understanding a person's body language, their emotion, their eyes, etc. So all of our characters talk to that. When we start with a character, first we create sort of what the learning goal is. So maybe it's a boy who tantrums. Then we move into, okay, that means he's mad. Let's call him Mad Max. Now how should Mad Max act? We're going to, like, from the body out, sort of give him this life that we know is a tantrum boy. We can read it in the eyes. So here's the stylized map, kind of a close-up. Every environment, and this has now changed a great deal, but every environment is one that's been chosen because our players would need to learn certain skill sets in that environment. So maybe it's the supermarket and learning how to wait in line patiently. Maybe it's the classroom and learning how to ask the teacher for help, things like that. But all these fun characters that they interact with. And here you can see more of those stylized locations. Here's a close-up on some of the characters. So you can see we've got a really fun, like, lively world, and then at their core, they're made up of like simple shapes, and that's because it just makes them a little more accessible and appealing, and that's because even if we have a character who's a bully or tantruming, we always want the player to keep wanting to interact with this character because there's something about him so endearing, so appealing. Here you'll see how we've heightened all the emotions. So for every character, we want to have really big expressions. We can read right from the outset how they're feeling. Here's some color keys. And you see we're using sort of like pastels and slightly less saturated colors, and that's because, again, it's a little bit lighter, it breathes easier. It's a world you want to kind of visit and live in. And then also, not to crowd it too much, we're keeping it just simple colors. So it's not overbearing. Here's 3D environment. So this is a cafeteria, and as you can see, we've got those pastel colors in place. This is where we really need 3D artists, because we're building all the levels in 3D. And you'll see that there's so much room here to breathe. And that's because only characters will live here. But again, we don't want our players so overwhelmed by activity that they don't know where to go, what to do. And then here's an example of a classroom. Again, you can see how shapes are wonkified and a little bit off. There's never a 90-degree angle. It's always kind of a little more fun shape. And then we want to add textures to this that are sort of like illustrations and hand drawings, colored pencils to give it that like illustrated book feel. There's some comic cutscenes. Before you interact with every character, it's going to play a cutscene so you can sort of understand what happens in them. And then you interact with them. So I'm going to pull up this demo real quick. How much time do I have? We've got time? You guys want to see this? We're going to walk through a little bit. We'll make it more participatory, so that way. I'm going to test all of you and see how you do on communication.
Did they see it last time?
What's that?
Did they see it last time?
Did they see it last time? No, we didn't have it last time. We're now we're in Chrome, right? Oh, here we go. Just close it. Yeah. Okay. No. All right, we may not have a demo.
So just do command space, and you know what the file name is.
Good Safari for these. All right, here we go. So this is very much a proof of concept demo, just to show you sort of how the game would play out. But again, we're following Pete, right?
Look, there's our friend Amy. Maybe she can help. Let's go talk to her.
All right, so in this environment, we're in the cafeteria, right? You're always going to have a certain number of toys to find at each level, and the only way to do that is interact with people. So you can tap anywhere, and our character's going to walk around. Some things actually would cause interactions, like the single turn on or the soda machine would spray, but it encourages exploration. And we're going to go talk to this character here.
Oh, Amy has a delicious tray of food for lunch. Uh-oh, there's a puddle. Amy's going to slip. Oh no, Amy's food fell all over the floor. Now she doesn't have a lunch anymore.
Okay, so the first thing you do, fill out this instruction, but you have to prepare for a conversation, and that would either mean you have to move into the right placement before you talk to someone. You don't want to be a close talker. You don't want to be too far. Or you might change your body posture to make sure that you're talking. Or in this case, so we got to make sure we're looking at her before we can talk.
Before we talk to Amy, let's think with our eyes. How does Amy feel?
And so now we have to recognize her expression. I know this seems easy to us, but for children with autism, they may not know how to even how to address somebody because they're not sure how they're feeling. They're just feeling their own mood. So if we chose something like happy,
People smile when they're happy. Amy isn't smiling. Let's try again.
we get an immediate feedback as to why that's the wrong choice, but then that disappears. It still leads us towards the right answer.
That's right. She looks upset. Good thinking with your eyes.
Okay, now we're going to test whether or not they understood what happened earlier. So did
Why
they
is she
comprehend?
sad?
Why is she feeling the way she did? Was it because she failed her test? Did Did her backpack break? Maybe a spider came down? Or is it that she slipped on a puddle?
That's right. Amy slipped. Good remembering.
And so up here, you'll see these stars are
Now
sort of
let's
walking us
prepare for
through
a
the
conversation.
conversation so that we know how
How
we're
should
doing.
we start?
It's hot in here. What's wrong? Have you seen my toy? Stop crying.
And so each one of these is on a scale of basically least appropriate to most appropriate. There's going to be a pool of choices. There are like 8 choices that randomly populate, so we can always keep the game fresh. But if you chose something like stop crying,
Amy looks upset. Let's use nicer
you
words.
should have used nicer words. So let's go with what's wrong instead.
Good start. You've thought about Amy's feelings.
All right, so now what's brought to you guys?
Lunch with nothing to eat.
What can we do now
Let's continue
to
the
maintain the
conversation.
topic?
What should you say next?
I'm looking for my toy. You made a mess. I'm sorry you spilled your lunch.
All right, what are we thinking?
Made a mess.
You made a mess. All right.
Uh-oh. That might make Amy feel
Come on
bad.
now. What are you trying to do here? And so each one of these is tracked also in the analytics behind the scenes. We're actually evaluating each choice so we know how they did. So ideally, they would have known, I'm sorry, you split
Good
lunch.
job. You thought about Amy's feelings.
And now we're given an opportunity to do what's called
Thanks,
problem
Steve. I wish
solving.
I had a new lunch.
Amy wants a new lunch. What do you say and do to help her?
I want to go talk to somebody else. You can say this. Can you give me a little lunch? Clean it up yourself.
And as funny as these sound, these are actually things that children with autism would say. My wife, who's the speech pathologist and therapist on this project, actually sometimes just lifts from the students. Like these are things that they're saying. This is really what's happening. So we need to make sure that we're training them to learn the right behaviors. So we always build an out if they don't want to participate, but ideally, we want to get them another lunch.
Great choice. That should help.
Okay, so now at this point,
Sure. Here's what I had on my
we
chart.
want to reward
Can
the
you
player
give
for
me
going through
another
all of that
with a
hard
hat?
science and actually learning what it means to have a conversation. So we're going to have them play a mini game. And this is what every character offers. There's always going to be a fun mini game. It's kind of a
Let's look at
digression.
Amy's tray. If you see any food on the buffet that matches Amy's, tap it and slide it to the same spot on the lunch tray.
You all got that, right? We know how to play, right? And now listen, the music's changed, and it's become almost like a sensory room because it's a very safe environment. You can do whatever you want. There aren't necessarily wrong answers, but we're going to steer you. So,
That isn't what Amy wanted. Let's try again.
but maybe if we took the right item, but we just didn't match it correctly.
Amy wanted that, but it doesn't go there.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you put it in the right
Oh,
spot
now I
on the
got
tray?
it. All right.
Great job. Why don't we see if we can find any more food that Amy wants?
Right.
Great job. Why don't we see if we can find
Yeah, we have a plan.
if you did
Okay.
it a perfect match? Let's go back and give this to Amy.
And so each of these mini games are something where we're going to have a mini game mode where they can go back and play them all and challenge themselves and actually ramp up that difficulty so they can really get better, even at those things like matching and
Thank you,
recognizing.
Steve. This looks delicious. I saw you looking for something. Can I help you?
I'm looking for my toys.
This might help. It was on my food tray before I slipped.
And yes! Yes, we found it! That is awesome. So now you'll see here, we basically got one of the toys. What's really neat about the toys is we're also building a toy box mode. The name's going to change now thanks to Disney Infinity. But it's something where every one of these toys that you find in the levels, you can then play with later outside of the game. We actually have a mode called Toy Box. It's so motivating that like I didn't just get an image, a clip art of a marker, but now I can actually go to my drawing set and I unlock the red color. I can play with it, or I can go to my train set and I can use the tank engine. So that, in a nutshell, is social boost. So what we need from you guys, or we're hoping you're going to pump with. And there it is. Let's just talk to it. Basically, we need most of all 2D artists, but character artists. So 2D animators, people from a strong animation background who can bring these characters to life. We've got a number of great new artists on board. We've got some art directors now and a style guide that's put together. But it's something where every one of those characters, as you saw, is that much more lively once we actually can bring it to life with 2D animation. Kind of like a 2D animator's dream project, because like a Disney movie, it's going to run like a 2D film and have that kind of polish to it. We're also looking for background artists, and that could be concept artists to help us devise mini games, help us devise actual backgrounds, but also 3D artists that can help us build those 3D backgrounds. And then looking for UI artists who can help us decide placement and where things should be, as well as cinematic artists to help with cutscenes and the trailer. So with that, that is social clues, social learning through interactive games. Thanks, guys. Does anyone have any questions? Something I can answer? Yes.
So for the 2D animation, you said you wanted to be like a colored pencil look or something?
Yeah, it's going to be, well, I can get back to the slides, but right now we're focused on black and white, and we want to bring in like block fills with some shading, but we want to give it that look as if kind of maybe the colors have a little bit of texture to them, so that you know how you get that sort of uneven texture with a colored pencil? So maybe a little bit like that, just so it feels like a storybook come to life, because it's the kind of work that they would look at so regularly anyway in classrooms and books they love, so now they'll want to play it more.
So what art programs were you thinking of using to get that effect?
Right now we're building in Unity, and it's all a touch game, so it's all going to be on the iPad and the Android. So we're importing everything as PNGs, but we're just actually creating still shots of the animation and then running them in sequence in Unity. So you can use anything you want to create, Photoshop, Alias, Sketchbook Pro, anything that works for you, as long as we can pump them out and make them transparent. Yeah. Any other questions? Should I teach you guys how to ask questions? Okay. All right, well then, thank you very much. There'll be information on legal on the table, but also Poland's then going to send an email with his contact info. So Jeremy Bernstein, he's not up there, but J.E. Burns at USC.edu. Thanks, guys.
So the seventh project, Mirrorlabs out here, very quickly, it is a game about a mortal jellyfish. There's a jellyfish that lives forever. When it gets to an adult, it will shrink back to a baby. And then making a game about the jellyfish and how it goes through the different stages of life, as well as creating emergent systems so that you can say